Welcome to Greg Hansen's Video Notebook, brought to you by Sam Levitt's Furniture. I am Star Sports Editor Ryan Finley, here with Greg Hansen. Greg, I don't care what the people in Tempe say. I don't care what U of A fans say. To me, Arizona has one rival in basketball, and it's UCLA. And the Bruins are coming to town Saturday for what is, to me, the one game on the schedule that I circled back in September.
And you know, it used to be in the 90s, it was the single best day of the year in Tucson sports.
Mm-hmm.
Better than the Territorial Cup, better than any spring training game, whatever, better than the Tucson Open, UCLA, Arizona. And a couple, you know, Stanford came in here ranked in the top 2 or 3, 4 or 5 times, but still, you're right, it was UCLA.
Why do you think that rivalry has sort of stood the test of time? Is it the old guard versus the new guard? Is it aspirational with regards to Arizona, as they want to be considered on par with, if not better than, for my money, the best basketball program in the history of the sport?
Yeah, it was all of that. They had to chop down, Lute had to chop down UCLA to move up to #1 in the league, and that's what he did, with a lot of help from UCLA in the 80s when they hired 2 bad coaches. But that 90s series against UCLA was magical because they were good all the time.
Well, and there wasn't a more hated man within the 520 area code than Ed O'Bannon, was there?
Oh, man. Don McLean.
Don McLean.
That's who I'd nominate.
Yeah?
He's a good guy now. But when he played for UCLA, he was so good. Scored 38 points here one day.
Wow.
When they broke Arizona's 71 game winning streak.
Wow. Well, to me, it's funny. You go back and you look over, okay, why has this rivalry been so good? You know, even in the past decade, this has not been a vintage Arizona program, and it's certainly not been a vintage UCLA program. I believe Arizona's 6-4 at McHale Center against UCLA. 7 of those games have been decided by 5 points or less.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always a good game, regardless of how good and more recently not good both teams have been.
You know, when Ben Howland was UCLA's coach, it was at the time of the Lute transition, and to me that didn't buy into the Ben Howland versus Arizona thing. It never took, like the Jim Herrick did, and even the Steve Lavin did.
Right.
Because I mean, UCLA had identifiable players for so long.
Sure. And our love of Steve Lavin, that's another show, by the way. It's they're fun. He recruits. Anyway, back to that. Yes.
Yeah, just UCLA won here 3 times in the 90s, and it took everything they had to win 3 times in the 90s.
Right.
And then they won 3 times in the first decade of this century. They're not going to win here Saturday either.
No, I don't think so either. If you look at UCLA, Greg, you just mentioned a bunch of coaches. You mentioned that, you know, that their 80s were sort of torpedoed by the fact that they made some really bad coaching hires. Where does Steve Alford rank there for you right now?
Wow. I think he's better than Walt Hazzard and Larry Farmer. They're 2 legacy hires that didn't work out.
Right.
Lavin, you know, he was a terrific human being, but he wasn't a good coach.
Right.
I think Alford's a B-level coach.
Well, that'll do it for this episode of Greg Hansen's Video Notebook, brought to you by our friends at Sam Levitt's Furniture. For Greg Hansen, I'm Ryan Finley. We'll see you next time.
More style, more selection, more great rooms at even greater savings, and it's all at the President's Day home sale now at Sam Levitt's Furniture.
Experience the fashion, the colors, and some of the biggest holiday savings ever.
Save 50%, save 60%, save even up to 80%.
In fact, you'll save on everything in every department, whether it's brand new or a long-time bestseller. Special financing is available.
And you can have it delivered the same or next day.
The President's Day home sale with holiday savings up to 80%.
Now through Monday at Sam Levitt's.